technologies and media have brought with them new possibilities for representing our research, to both extract and represent data, as well as to publish our work in different forms and formations online. But next to researching, we also experiment with the development and use of disruptive digital media, including open source, open access, open data, and open education resources. Open to anyone, everywhere.
How can we enter into certain methodologies?
The binary of tool and user in particular is very problematic.
Do we need to use new sensory methods or new kinds of methods?
How the specific artworks resonate with the post-humanist attitudes in the inquiry into deep time perspective on life.
The author, the human, the device, and the text and the context, I think, are very, very seriously undermined by a closer analysis of how texts are produced.
Diffractive reading, I think, is part of the post-humanities. By embarking on a theoretical physics journey in humanities departments, and by inviting physicists and all other scholars, in fact, to consider the research process along the lines of situated knowledges.
Bearing in mind Deleuze's statement that philosophy, art and science, I quote, come into relations of mutual resonance and exchange, I would like to analyze artworks investigating temporal dimensions of life beyond human.
Oral history in the UK has a particular kind of radical history as a radical methodology used both by academics and activists and community historians.
And one of the points I would argue as well is that the theoretical work about semiotic practice and text has tended to elide the role of non-human actors.
Clearly something happening in relation to developing knowledge in areas that are not generally understood as being part of knowledge formation, so in arenas that are not writing heavy.
Talking about books, I interpret the aesthetic of bookishness as the material acknowledgement of the influence of digital networks on them.
I'm interested in thinking about how we might rethink certain aspects of aesthetics, humanities, and modernity by looking again at certain formulations.
Almost every new technology markets itself as interface-less and beyond the interface. And we've seen that all the time through digital culture, how the interface becomes a material, technological and cultural basis for arts and aesthetics.
Taken up to think about the ways in which all forms of experimentation and knowledge include an aspect of making and thinking.
The aesthetic of bookishness is also reflected in the distinctive physicality, echoing Xerox's zines of print-on-demand books made by Lulu.
But the diagrammatic aspects of composition, I think, play a role in expanding our understanding of the possibilities of poetic form.
So if we are saying, and clearly we are, we have been for some time, that hybrid publishing is the way forward, I think we need to worry a little bit more about what that means. Hybrid publishing means analog digital, but I think for me too it means something to do with the way in which we combine traditional and non-traditional writing and publishing.
Counter models to sort of traditional models of academic learning and things like the University of Culture, which have been referred to before, and the University of Excellence.
Drawing on the insights of Samizdat research, I will identify 3 dimensions of self-publishing: materiality, experimentation, and the ethics of openness.
Being a practice-based researcher is really what it means to be a kind of creative manipulator of data.
Thinking about knowledge in relationship to the object of study. That is, we didn't look at these people as simply objects of study, but rather as giving us the model for how we would actually represent them.
How these 3 dimensions might be simultaneously captured by the term mattering, and how they might be reflected in our own publishing practices.
One of the things that goes on here with Mattering Press, with OHP, with Goldsmiths Press, is a desire to look again at the scholarly practices that underpin humanities that was fundamentally always or absolutely never in crisis.
So the Glitch Ontology Manifesto gets sampled into the hybrid conference, and its ability to creatively manipulate data by lucidly evolving one's aesthetically attuned remixological filters.
Gary Hall points out that this transformation of knowledge to productivity, signalled by Lyotard, of course, as symptomatic of the postmodern condition, leads us to all of this emphasis on performance, openness, transparency, efficiency, accountability.
To rethink our relationship to the knowledge, to the objects that we are supposedly studying, as instead models for the form of the publication.
One of the Centre's latest experiments is a new model of applied research for art and technology called BOM, Birmingham Open Media. Birmingham Open Media responds to the substantial developments in digital culture that phenomenon like open access, open data and open source offer.